Okay, it's time now for another episode of Canteen Cup Tuesday. Once again, this is your host, Matt the Old Florida Boy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, as everybody knows, in my last video, I injured my legs last month and they're about 95% back to normal, but that's not the problem. The problem is it is so stinking hot down here right now. It is like Africa hot. And it's actually too hot to go out in the woods. I would have to carry so much water with me that it would be too heavy, so I'd have to manufacture most of the water that I took out there. I'd have to manufacture it out there, which I would, spend most of my time making water and not doing outdoor stuff that you know and love me for. So today I'm going to test a process called cold soaking, not to be confused with cork soaking. If you want to know what that is, you should search this in YouTube and watch that video. It's hilarious. Cold soaking is where you just use some room temperature water and you actually rehydrate some stuff. And you could do this rehydrate stuff for a lot of different things if you're creative about it. One of the first things that I'm going to try to rehydrate is one of our old favorites, ramen noodles. As y'all know, I love ramen noodles. This is one of my 4 favorite survival foods, if not the favorite survival food. So we're gonna rehydrate this and see how it tastes, because the last thing you want to do when it's hot like this is stop along the trail. It's already 100 degrees, you're sweating and everything. Last thing you want to do is stop on the trail, fire up the stove, or make a fire. You might as well jump in that fire and burn yourself up. So let's get on to the workbench of death, and we're going to start trying to cold soak some ramen, and then we'll do a taste test. So let's get to it. Okay, here we are on the workbench of death, and we've got our first candidate, top ramen. This is one of my favorite ramens, chicken flavor. Y'all know how I love chicken, so we're going to put the chicken flavor in there in a minute. But we got Old Faithful here, and we got 2 cups of water in Old Faithful. And just to say, we got our thermometer here. So what's it gonna say? Our thermometer, well, don't say nothing, you got to look at it. Our thermometer says 78 degrees, and that's just so y'all know that I'm not cheating. I didn't warm up the water beforehand, to make it easier. It's 78 degree water, so basically room temperature water. So we got a ramen in here. Now I'm going to add the flavor packet. Okay, we're going to get our ramen open here. Kind of be careful because I don't want to. Okay, there's our flavor packet, nicely dumped in the water. Okay, our scissors. Now, I think you could do this either before or after you soak the ramen. The first time I ever soaked the ramen, this is the first time I've ever done this. So we're gonna add it. We're gonna add it beforehand and see if we can kind of dissolve this stuff up. It's kind of lumpy, so I'm gonna see if I can kind of press those lumps out. And I don't really mind using the flavor packet for this, because if you're running around and you're going to be sweating a lot, you're going to be losing a lot of sodium in sweat, and this is going to replace it. Now this is kind of strong. It tastes like cold chicken broth. Okay, so now we're going to take this ramen. And this isn't gonna work too good. Normally when I cook this, in it's boiling water, you just put the ramen in there and it kind of dissolves in there, and then you get nice long stringy ramen. But this ain't gonna work because it ain't gonna cover it all. It's gonna stick up, So I'm gonna break up the ramen, and I don't usually like breaking up the ramen, but I'm gonna break up this ramen so we kind of get the ramen in the Canteen cup. All right, so I'm gonna break up my ramen here. Okay, so I can get it all covered in the water. I'm going to get my little shavings. Everything in there. Oh, that was almost a mine disaster. All right, now we're gonna make sure we can get our ramen in there, get it all covered. May need to crunch it up a little bit more, but we're pretty covered. All right, so now we're gonna just kind of cover this and let this baby sit for a while, and then we're gonna come back and see what we got. Okay, so here we are 30 minutes later, and we're gonna see what we got. All right, that is not looking too bad. It's looking kind of like ramen. It still feels a little stiff. Well, tastes like ramen. We're gonna see what our water temperature is. Our water temperature, because it's been sitting out here in the garage, our water temperature is 81 point, well, it's still dropping a little, 80.7. So, you know, that's a long ways from boiling. It's a long way from 212 degrees, and on the trail, that's not going to overheat you as much as drinking boiling soup and really hot soup. So I'm going to give this another 30 minutes, and I'm going to see if it's already absorbed a lot of the water. I'm going to see if it'll absorb some more water in another 30 minutes, and then we are going to come back and we're going to see what is going on. So give her another 30 minutes and I'll be back. Okay, so here we are 1 hour later. We're going to pop the top off. See where we are. All right. Now that ramen has absorbed a lot of the water, and if we wanted to wait a little bit more, it would probably absorb the rest of it. However, it feels kind of soft. Okay, and it tastes kind of soft. Okay, I don't think you would need to let it sit more than an hour. Our temperature is our temperature of our water is now 81.9. It's about 81.7. So, you know, room temperature water. It looks like the ramen has really absorbed most of it. Let's go up and let's do a taste test on this. Okay, here we go. We got our cold soaked ramen here. Let's try it. All right, you know, not bad. Pretty soft, you know, kind of chewy, you know, not crunchy. It's really not bad. You know, you could, this took about an hour to do it. So, you know, you could, when you got right to your camp, you could just set this up, cover it, set it aside, make your camp, get all your stuff ready, come back, and then this is ready. Now, you could always be a little bit creative and put some dehydrated veggies in there, or some Spam, because Spam's already cooked. You know, you can eat Spam right out of the package. You know, cut up a Spam single, put it in there. You'd have a nice ramen bomb. I bet you some rice would rehydrate in here pretty good. You know, maybe a little pouch of that tuna. You know, the little foil pouch of tuna. Or maybe like a can of chicken, like I love to make my ramen bombs out of. So, you could really make a lot of different stuff, and really this isn't bad. You can kind of drink it. You know, you don't really need any forks or spoons or knives or anything else, you know. Pretty easy. There's some advantages and disadvantages. One advantage is, since it's not hot and we didn't have a fire over the cup's nice and cool, so we can actually drink the broth. And one disadvantage is it's not hot. So, you know, you're not getting all of the taste of the ramen, but, you know, I did use the flavor pack, so I get all of that sodium. So if you're really sweaty, because it is really hot down here. Guys, it is Africa hot down here. And You know, being that hot, you're going to lose a lot of sodium through sweat. You know, and you're just, the water is not going to replace it all. So actually, the flavor packet works pretty good. So, actually, this is not bad. You know, it's just like cold chicken broth and noodles. So, if you're creative, this could be a pretty good alternative. You know, if you're stealth camping and you don't want to start a fire, you know, or if you're in a place that has a burn ban and you can't start a fire, or you can't use your little camp stove or something like that, you could always do some cold soaking of ramen. I'm going to do some more experiments later on, and I'm going to add some more stuff to this in later videos and see if I can't actually get to something worth eating. But all in all, our cold soaked ramen worked pretty well, and it's edible. You can eat it, and it's not bad. Or you can drink it. So once again, with my experiment on cold soaking ramen noodles, this is Matt the Old Florida Boy, and I will see you on the trail.